Hi, it's Myrna here from Doing Life Differently, and I just wanted to share with you my experience and knowledge on how to give feedback, particularly on how to give negative feedback. So I consider myself a bit of an expression specialist, and that's because I have been quite proficient at sharing what I think or having an opinion and giving feedback. So for a long time I was sharing my thoughts via the spoken word and then having to go around and apologise, and quite often to people who I hadn't even spoken to who had been offended. So it made me start looking at how I could do things with a little bit more tact, how I could express myself. Occasionally I forget, and my close friends will account for this. So my background has been working with disadvantaged people, drug addicts, alcoholics, people with mental illnesses, ex-prisoners, abusive and abused people, and homeless people. So this has taught me how to be very self-conscious of the way that I express myself. So over time, if you don't want to get your head squashed or something pelted at you, you learn to tone things down a little bit. Have you ever tried to tell an aggressive homeless alcoholic, when was the last time you had a bath? Or what is wrong with you? So it all comes down to the technique, and that's what I'd like to share with you today. A little technique that I've learned on how to give negative feedback, and I'd also like you to listen to this because I would really love some feedback on this video, and I'd prefer if you gave it to me in nicely. So just before I share that with you, I'd like to tell you a little bit of a story about one time at band camp, if you understand American Pie there, and it's about when I had to give some feedback about someone who had a strange odour. This has been something that I've grown up with because my dad, love him, was really into garlic, and if you've ever hung around anyone who's eaten garlic, you know what they smell like. And after a while my comments of, geez Dad, you stink of garlic, that wasn't getting through, it wasn't working, and I had to find another way to sort of say, cut back on the garlic, Dad. And that's actually the approach I used, and it worked really well. But anyway, this particular day I was at work with a 60-year-old gentleman who was a bus driver, in and out of the office quite a bit, and everyone was complaining about him and talking about how much he perspired and how he smelt, and it was really getting the better of me. It was really annoying me that everyone had a lot to say but no one was going to say it to him, and I hated everyone talking about him behind his back, and it just frustrated me that no one was game enough to say anything. So I thought, okay, I can do this. I called him into my office and we sat down, and I asked him how he liked his job, what didn't he like, were there things that could improve, and eventually I ran out of chit chat and I couldn't avoid the reason I'd asked him in there, which he didn't know. So I went along the lines of, I hate to bring this up and I feel really awfully uncomfortable about doing this, but I've noticed that you perspire a lot, and it creates a bit of an odour, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Is there anything that we can do about it? And the look on his face, boy, you just can't imagine me sitting there with perspiration running down my back, being really nervous and about having to broach this subject with a total stranger. Well, I worked with him, but we weren't on that kind of level of communication. But anyway, and he sort of just blurts out then, I'm so pleased someone has finally brought it up. His reaction was total relief. It just blew me away, and I've learned a big lesson from this, because he then proceeded to tell me about a genetic problem that was in his family, and it caused him to perspire uncontrollably. But the lesson I learned here was never hold back. Always ask or say what's on your mind, nicely of course, because you just don't know what's going on for people. You always ask or give your feedback. It's the same if you're dealing with someone who you feel might be suicidal, and I've done some training around that, and one of the things they always say is to make sure you ask, are you suicidal? It's a bit tricky to do, but when you get used to it, it's okay. But then there's an art to telling someone that they stink, or that they should clean their room if you've got teenagers, or that you're concerned about them. Okay, so I want to share with you the process that I use, and there's a technique called the sandwich technique, where you layer your feedback by giving a positive, then a negative, and then a positive, or praise, then the problem, then praise. But you've got to be careful with that technique, because it can be taken as you're fake. You're not meaning what you're saying. You're cushioning what you really mean, and people, can suspect you depending on where they come from. So I want to take it another step further rather. And what I want to tell you to do is do that. But first of all, make it about you. And this is probably one of those rare occasions when you can actually make something all about you. So start with, when you're talking to someone, start with, I'm uncomfortable, I feel this, I'm concerned about. You just talk about you. And then from there, it's not like an attack, a personal attack. All right. And if you're on the fence and you're not sure what to say, you can always go with, and you're not impressed, but you want to give some feedback, try sort of, I'm gobsmacked, I'm amazed, I'm lost for words, I'm totally in awe, but what's your tone as well? Because you can say, I'm amazed, and be really amazed, or you can say, I'm amazed, or sarcastically, I'm amazed at how. So what's your tone when you're giving feedback? But you get the picture. So by the way, you also have to consider with the words that you're using as well, and try not to use any sarcasm in your tone as well. So next, after you've used it's about you, share your concern, how it's impacted on you, how you felt, and this is hard because you have to get in touch with why something is bothering you. And just as a little side note here, when you know why something bothers you, it stops bothering you. So here goes. This is what you could say. I'm a bit distressed about the condition of your room. The reason being that I'm just not really game to go in there because I'm not sure what I'm going to find. And do you think you could bring your dirty clothes out sometime? Or I'm not quite sure what the point is you're trying to make. What I'm hearing is blah, 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 that you think I'm an idiot. Is that what you're trying to say? That couldn't be right. What exactly were you meaning? So it's making it about you, so then it's not putting them on the defensive. Okay, so then you throw in some positive things, like you did well with this, or you do well with that, I've noticed this. Then add in the issue that you want to be resolved, but this needs to improve, or this could be done differently, I'd like you to change this. And then finish with more positive. I know you'll be able to get this to work out in the future. Anything that kind of can lessen the blow, but also it blends in and don't make it sound fake, I guess. So it works really well in the written word as well, though it can be misconstrued by the meaning and the tone that others put to it. So otherwise, your feedback can come across as blaming or a criticism, and then it just falls on deaf ears. And after we can all beat ourselves up about what we can do differently or do better, and what's wrong with us, so without having someone point out all of that. So it's not about giving a criticism in a way that it's rude. It's about making it come across as genuine, but in a nice way. So just to recap on that, make it about yourself, how you feel and how it affects you, and then give them some positive stuff, then tell them what the issue is, and then finish with some more positive stuff. Okay? After all, giving negative feedback is really all about you. It's how you feel, it's how you have received the information that has been put forward to you. So it's not a bad thing to be able to understand how you feel, so that you can actually give some constructive criticism so that people can do things differently. Surround your feedback with positive emotions, and make sure, you follow up with things and to see how they are changing. Don't just give the feedback and expect it to happen. So for the best results, always follow up and see, how'd you manage with that? Did it work out? So I'm really looking for some great comments and feedback on this video. Practice the things that I have mentioned above here. And also, while I think of it too, if you've got anything really negative to say, please go ahead and do that. I really prefer it to be constructive criticism, because it's the only way people can improve. People don't normally say what they think. They cushion it, soften it, or they just don't say anything. And that doesn't help anyone, because how can you get better or change something if you don't give the feedback that you want to give? And I've also learned over the years how to file and filter. Originally, I used to file and filter everything under, oh, what an idiot, moron, who made you king and queen, what would you know, those kind of things. But now I've actually learnt to file and filter differently and take things on board. But that's probably a criteria for another video and another blog post. So thanks for listening. Bottom line, leave your feedback. Share openly and honestly what you have gotten out of this or not gotten out of this. And it'll be really beneficial, because I need to improve and, you know, on what I'm doing. So I can't do that without someone else telling me. It means in order to grow, we all need to be given constructive feedback and hear what other people say and how they receive things. So it's to take it on board and to use it to improve. Also, connect with me on Facebook at facebook.com Myrna Dwyer, or my fan page Doing Life on facebook.com Doing Life Differently, and find this video on my blog that I've written and leave a comment there also. I'd really appreciate that. So until next time,